Sure thing. My name is Justin Marwad, and I'm currently a PhD student at the University of Massachusetts Lowell.
Justin, how'd you get involved with the Coolidge Foundation?
So I first competed with I joined the Coolidge Foundation's debate program, heard about them from other leagues, and it's really fascinating to me. And I watched one of the final rounds on YouTube, and it was really fascinating. And I'm like, that's really cool. And so I competed at a qualifier online. I qualified, went to the Coolidge Cup, and it was one of the best summers I've ever had, one of the best tournaments I've ever gone to. It was a really good mix.
That's awesome. What brought you to this conference? I mean, we're a long ways from where you go to school, here at the Library of Congress, studying the national debt. What was really compelling to get you to travel all the way down here during a busy school cycle?
Yeah, life is busy, but I really enjoy coming to these events that the Coolidge Foundation puts on. So whether it's the Coolidge Cup, tournaments I can go to help out at, or events like this. I love hearing more about Coolidge, and I really appreciate the mission that the foundation is putting out there, and that's actually something I did enjoy about the debate program. It was one of the first opportunities I've ever had to really in-depth study the policies of Calvin Coolidge and his mindset, and it was really fascinating. And so that's why I come back to events like this. I get an opportunity to listen to the speakers, listen to a Coolidge mindset, and I believe it's a mindset that honestly we need to start going back to as a country to unite ourselves and to pull ourselves forward into a new generation.
Yeah, I think you started to touch upon this a little bit there, but we're here at a conference centered around the history of America's national debt. What do you think it's important for Americans to keep in mind about President Coolidge's policies with regards to debt and budgeting for the progress of the general populace today?
Absolutely. One of my favorite things about Coolidge is he was very brief, and brevity was his thing. And I feel like in our current politics, we get lost with a lot of different things, and things get swept aside. There's a lot of words said, but nothing is actually done. Calvin Coolidge, in few words, was able to get things done. And so I think that's something that is important to keep in mind going forward. We don't need bills that are thousands of pages. We need policy that works, policy that is simple. And I believe that Calvin Coolidge was able to achieve that, which is why we should study more about how he was able to do that.
Absolutely. Well, we're only a couple panels into this conference, and there's lots more to learn, but what's something that stood out to you so far that's surprising or you think is an important fact to take away from this conference? Sure
thing. The budget, so regarding the debt, I mean, so that's a whole topic of the summit. What was fascinating to me is so a couple years ago, or maybe a couple of decades ago rather, this was a bipartisan issue. People on both sides of the aisle were trying to tie down the debt. They weren't, there's no confrontation there. It was something that everyone agreed upon. But as we start to go on, and as is the current environment, both parties are having issues with coming together and talking about how we can solve this. But it was really cool seeing the panelists up there. We had people from both sides of the aisle who were able to stand up and say, this is bad, we should solve it. And so that was one thing that really stood out to me. Even in an environment where everyone is disagreeing, we can still find the people who do agree, and we can find people who are willing to come together, figure out a solution, and solve the problem.
So if there is consensus that we need to work to address the national debt, what would you do to try and address it if you were put in charge, Justin?
That is an excellent question. If there was a President Justin, what I would do is, I believe the debt limit is really important. So we need to have that in place, keep that in place, and don't spend above it. I think it's important to live within our means, and that's something that I really appreciate my parents for. They were able to teach me how to do that. And they both came from farms in India. And they were taught how to live within their means. And I think that's something that we should learn as a country. We should not spend more money. Let's keep our deficit down. Let's not spend more money than we make, and let's spend it responsibly. So let's keep that debt ceiling in place. Let's spend money we have and not money we don't have.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, Justin. We really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.